Well, the first day of competition is in the books, and the sun's coming up, and we're getting ready to head out for day number 2. This morning, we will shoot the speed course, which, very much like the Slug challenge, is broken into multiple stages, and you have a series of targets at different distance for each stage. And the difference is, obviously, shooting pellets, not slugs, but the difference is you're shooting head-to-head against somebody.
3, 2, 1, go! Get back. Get back. Get back. I got you. That was outstanding, guys.
Nice shooting, Val. Yeah. And the points in your individual pairing, your points are based on who beats who at each individual stage.
Ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
That's it. That's it.
Nice shot. Nice shot.
Nice shooting, PJ.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
So you can win, I think it's 10 points for each stage, and in total, it's either 9 or 10 stages. And then top scores are going to move on, and there'll be final bracketing for the big money, the prize. So going to be a pretty fast-paced, fast-moving morning.
All right, spotter ready. Shooters now.
I'm ready.
Looks like we're ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hiding yet. Hit. Hit.
Get it?
Yep.
I got video for you, brother.
John's coming in. Hey, man. What'd you learn from yesterday? What did you shoot?
So, I learned that for me, shooting competitively, it really is, it's difficult to just calm down and think clearly. For me, my mistake yesterday was I sat down at the bench, and it was a bench I'd never shot at before. I had not noticed that when I set up my bipod, I had the legs out too far. So when I settled down on the gun, I was so focused on, okay, I've got to get my sighters, I've got to go, that it was, until I was completely done shooting, it occurred to me that my hand was almost cramping from hanging onto the rear rest, the squeeze bag, so that I could get down to the sighters. And I had adjusted my cheek piece because I was having a really hard time getting the proper alignment with my eye to my scope. And it was until I was all the way done that it occurred to me the whole problem was that I had the gun too high up off the table, and I was fighting with that the whole time. So there was that. But I think,
So,
go ahead.
Had you taken 2 minutes to orient yourself to the new bench, because that was a bench you hadn't shot on before, you might have been able to alleviate that. So if anybody's looking at competition, one of the things you'd say is get to your bench. Now, there are rules, and for good reason, about when you can touch the gun and all that stuff. And that's all based on safety. So that's those are non-negotiable rules. So you have to work within that rule set.
Right.
And probably good to note, get to your bench when they say go, because they kind of give you a countdown and go.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and right away somebody is on the trigger, and
there was, I think, half the line was
just
immediately
crackled,
popped off.
just crackled out. So you'd say slow that down.
Absolutely.
And hey, you've got 30 minutes to make 25 shots.
I think 95% of the shooters that were on the line with me were done shooting in 10 minutes. I was still done shooting with 10 minutes remaining after my last shot, and I rushed my last shot because I felt like I was under so much stress fighting with my gun, and that I could feel all my body was getting tight, and the anxiety, I could not calm down. My anxiety was just kept building and building, and I've just got to take this shot. And I did. It was a bad shot. Threw away a couple of points that I could have had, would have made a big difference, all because I didn't take those couple minutes that I absolutely had the time for at the beginning to really at least make sure that all my equipment was set up as well as it could be. There's only so much you can do about the pressure of competition. Some people, it doesn't affect them, but I think that that's less than 1% of the population. The rest of us, when we sit down and do something like this, especially for the first time, guys, my heart was just hammering. I was probably really annoying to be around for a couple hours afterwards because I was so just.
I will say that I think it was a Stella Artois that might have helped that a little bit. But
yeah.
So today we have, in addition to the speed challenge, we have the second card in our 100-yard bench rest. One of the things, and you know, John's talking about being nervous and stuff like that. The Slug challenge that went on yesterday had a number of delays, and if you're going to come to a competition like this, expect that some things are going to be delayed. There's I think you could probably like literally say there are 100 or 200 or 300 moving parts to the equation. So the idea that everything's going to go perfectly is pretty unrealistic. The Utah Airgun staff and their volunteers are doing a phenomenal job keeping things moving. But, you know, if one target, there were 8 stages yesterday, and if one target gets knocked off a pole, the entire line has to stop after everybody gets done shooting whatever course of fire they're in. So you have to wait till everybody's done, call the line cold, make everybody move away from their guns so it's safe. Then people go downrange, fix the problem, come back, and then it can restart again. So that took quite a while. And I think where I was supposed to shoot at 1 o'clock on the bench, I think actually it was 2:30, something like that.
I think 2:30 or 3.
Yeah, so John was supposed to shoot at 5, and I didn't really pay attention. They were trying to move things along in the afternoon to try and catch up some of that time.
I think it was real close to 7.
But yeah, it was pretty late in the day. So, you know, that's something you have to be alert to the possibility of, and if that's going to throw you off, that might diminish your, you know, it's just another factor that you got to deal with. John, to his credit, all day long he was out talking to people, having a good time. The nerves would have absolutely built up on me, and he was, from the outside at least, I don't know, maybe he'll tell me later, that he was really nervous leading up to it. But he was like cool as a cucumber. I couldn't believe it. But then after he got off the bench, it was like, dude, just breathe, man. You're doing fine. And the scores aren't out yet, but he shot, especially for first time in competition, he shot a really good card. So super happy for him there. And today, this afternoon, you know, we get a shot at it again. So try and pick up a couple of points, and then those 2 scores get added together, and that's where you wind up with the final score. And then as far as scoring goes, you're only really competing against the people you're shooting against at the time. So all of the scores for I was on like the first card, or I'm sorry, the first round. So my score gets compared, my 2 days worth of scores gets compared to the people I was shooting with, which are the same people. We're just shuffled around on the benches. And then the 2 o'clock people are lumped together, and the 3 o'clock people are lumped, and the 4 o'clock and the 5 o'clock. There's 5 different time slots. And all those individually get looked at, and then the top people from each of the time slots move on into the finals on Sunday. So we haven't seen any scores yet. You know, you can go up and look at your target so you have an idea of how you scored, but remember they score them with a plug. So they put a 35 caliber plug in the hole, and it's a count up scoring. So if you break the line into the 9, well, you get the 9 instead of the 8. So the 35 caliber plug can help you, unless you're shooting 35 caliber. Then it's just going to be, it is what it is. So that's the overview of what's going to happen today, and we'll like in a blink of an eye, you'll be hearing what we have to say at the end of the day. So see you in a couple hours.
Thanks, guys.
Day 2 of shooting is in the books. It was an amazing day, as I mentioned before, and hopefully you got a taste of what the speed challenge was like from the last couple of clips. But we started with that in the morning. John and I got to shoot together, which in one case it meant that we had to compete against one another and only one of us could get the points. On the other side, it meant we got to watch each other shoot and play a support role, which was really cool. It also meant that we got to shoot against each other, which is, you know, it's a lot of fun to shoot and compete against your buddies. There's one part of you that's like, well, we could both win, but that's not how this particular competition shakes out. So in the afternoon, we both had our second card of the 100-yard Benchrest, and I think both of us did well. And I think when we see those scores, both of us scored better on the second card than the first. On my end, my first card put me in 5th place in my rotation. And John shot a really good card. What was your score? 2-0 something?
207.
207. So he shot 207, really good. John's in a heat with some very competitive shooters. There were a number of 227s. So it'll be tough for him to claw his way up to the top and make the cut. But he shot better in his second card today, I think, than he did yesterday. So we'll wait for those scores to be posted. I have a vague idea of where I rank in our heat on the speed challenge, but I haven't seen an official posting of that to know whether there's any more of that for me. But just a fantastic day. While we weren't shooting, we had opportunities to talk with a lot of people, meeting up with old friends and meeting new people, new friends. One of the really highlights of my day, I had a number of people come up to me and say they enjoyed the channel and that they valued the information we're able to provide. And that really makes the time it takes to put videos together really worth it. So for those folks who took the time out of, and everybody here is busy. I mean, it's not that people don't want to talk, but you're going back and forth to events. To have somebody take a break from what they're trying to accomplish for the day to come up and say something positive is really awesome, and I am very, very appreciative of that. We are headed to the FX house. They've got a kind of an open house party going tonight, so I'm very excited to see what that's all about and get some good food and have a chance to continue some of those conversations and develop some of those relationships, which is one of the great things about being able to attend an event like this. So we have precision rifle course tomorrow morning, starting bright and early. And then the afternoon is big bore slug challenge, which neither of us are shooting in. But it'll be interesting to see how that course is laid out this year. Hope you've enjoyed coming along with us and seeing a little bit of the stuff that we've been up to. Sorry this video was a little bit delayed. It turns out the Wi-Fi at the hotel kind of started choking on video uploads. So it just wasn't possible for us to post on the schedule that we had hoped for. But hopefully the videos are worth waiting for. Until tomorrow's video, shoot safe, shoot straight, and we'll see you on the next one.